Hey guys, just making this video today to walk you through how I built a Claude Code skill to help me write my LinkedIn posts. So two big things that we're going to focus on here is going to be the Claude file and the skill file. The Claude file is basically just going to be the instructions, any things that it needs to remember to do, needs to avoid, this, that, the other. And a lot of this was generated by auditing and analyzing all of my previous posts, and I will walk us through how we're going to do that in a second. The second one here is the skill flow, which you can think of it almost as the workflow. When you trigger the skill in Claude Code, it's going to follow the instructions in the skill file, which are going to be a bit more repeatable. They're going to be the workflow that you want to do every time you use the skill. And when you're doing this, it will take into consideration all of the stuff in the Claude file. So first things first, you are going to need you're going to need to provide it with some data. If you're like me, I've been posting for months. So I came into here, I believe it was this one. Yeah, exactly. Nope. You're just going to come into, I forget which one it was. I think it's this one. You come into, here we go. Come into Appify and you are going to enter in simply your LinkedIn. You can put your limit for as many as you want, but this one is rather cheap, $1 per 1,000 results. I ticked this as well because who doesn't love raw data, and I asked it to export in JSON. And that literally took a minute, so there's nothing to be worried about there. It's far more simple than it looks if you've never used Appify before. And then the other two options are, if you haven't posted before but you know what you'd like your voice to sound like, you can write a couple of example posts, or alternatively write your rules from scratch. If you don't fancy writing some example posts, you could just say, I don't want to use this, I do want to use this, write short, write long, blah, 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 blah. Okay, then second step, you're going to go into Claude Code and you are going to feed it that JSON file and say, please can you analyze all of my posts, state your intention as well when you start the chat with Claude Code, so it's analyzing it with the right end result in mind. Pretty simple. And then from there, I went in there and I built my Claude file. And I said, based on all of the results from your audit in step 2, include these sections, as you can see here. And then that was pretty much all I did to create my Claude file. I'll walk you through what this looks like in Claude Code as well in a second, but just going through a run through here. Then the fourth step is going to be build your skill file. And once again, as you've already clearly communicated your desired results and what you want to get here, you can ask it to create a skill file. I would probably recommend having the skill creator, Claude Skill, already installed. You can follow this, and also I think inputting this into your Claude Code when you're building it might not be a bad idea, as it worked for me. And I've just been instructing it to give me a bit of an interview to try and get as much information out of me as possible. And then it's going to generate 5 hooks, it's going to write a full post, and it will let me pick the hook and iterate until I'm happy. So that's that on paper. And now what this looks like is going to be like this. So if I'm going to come into here and I can write LinkedIn post, as I've asked it to sort of start with an interview, it's going to lead me through this. Full disclaimer, this was broadly inspired by a custom GPT which I've been using to write my posts for months, so I'm not all that smart, but I've just employed it into here, and now it's going to learn and do it specifically towards me with the Claude file in its brain. So I'm going to say, what's the goal of the post? I want to build authority and educate. And then the next question, what media am I attaching? This one, if for example you've already included the video, it's going to ask you to put in the transcript as well, just so it's fully informed about what we're sharing. But this one, I'm just going to say image, and I think you get the idea. We're going to walk through a quick sort of interview with what your post is about. So now we can say how the new clay pricing is bad, because that seems to be a very trendy topic at the moment. I want people to agree with me, obviously. Agency founders, and then eventually this is going to spit out some hooks. and it shall then allow me to pick the hook or create some new ones, and then it will have the post just below as well. Okay, we can choose, we don't have to choose a hook. You can see the post here being generated, and as you can see here, there are some structural things which are quite similar to how I'd normally write, which is these bullet points. Everything is mostly on one line. I think maybe I need to tweak it a little bit to make it a bit snappier, but it's looking pretty damn good. Here we go. So this is just an example. If you want to change the hook or you want to reiterate the post, you can just speak in here like you would to a normal ChatGPT or Claude tab. But this is what my Claude skill now looks like. I think this Google Doc, which I shared earlier, is going to be a good starting point for anyone who's trying to replicate this or make something similar. And please feel free to tweak it however you like, because you may not use British spelling, or you may not use the same level of slang that I use. So yeah, that's that. If you got any questions, let me know. And if you'd like this document, comment LinkedIn post down below in the comments and I'll get this sent over. Cheers, guys.